Alright guys, welcome to No Young No Old. Start off, we'll give a shout to our sponsors, Coco Nails and Beauty. Do all your nails, beauty obviously, because that's what it's called.
We're always getting ours done.
We're always getting ours done, as you can see. And we also have Portnell Cars, who do your cars. I've had a few people ask me, we've looked at their Instagram, there's no many cars on it. That is because they put a car up it, once it's sold, they take it away. There's no point keeping a picture up of a car that's sold, because people will ask about it. Aye. So that's why it's not there. So yeah, ready to go guys? It's been a good episode, this one. This is one I've know a little bit about, but I didn't want to do too much research. So
we've both said that. It's like whenever we've got somebody in that it's informational kind of podcast, we don't research too much.
It because we don't want to think with. So welcome Kieran.
Cheers.
Thanks guys. On the podcast, yes.
No pressure.
No pressure, no. You will find that you will forget you're doing a podcast. It's
within 5 minutes.
Within 5 minutes. It's like your light shining on you, you get too warm, then the next thing you just forget and you start talking.
Sometimes talk too much.
Sometimes you say a little bit too much and we've got into trouble with our wife, some of the stuff we've said.
Aye. It's just slagging them, which is fine.
Just slagging them, so that's normal. So we'll start off with tell us a little bit about you and your job in a sense.
No worries, essentially. So my name's Kieran Gribbin. I'm a diabetes dietitian working in Glasgow. I'm type 1 diabetic myself.
Which is the worst form, isn't it?
It's
like Champions League of diabetes.
It can be more challenging to manage, obviously. We can talk about that. You've probably heard of type 2.
Type 2,
which is kind of affects about 90% of people with diabetes. Will be type 2. So if you've got an auntie or an uncle or your neighbour that's got diabetes, your mum's got type 2.
Aye. That's the one they can kind of control with their fitness though, can't they? That's one of the ones.
Diet and lifestyle normally. We can talk about that, but a lot of it is sort of basically lifestyle. Whereas type 1 is essentially we don't produce any insulin, so we need to kind of administer insulin ourselves. So you're basically doing the job of a pancreas, which is pretty
hard job.
Pretty complex, man.
I had a friend that was Lewis. Shout out! I'll probably send him because he's type 1 diabetic. And he's all into this kind of stuff. So we shout out to Lewis. I used to watch him putting it in because it was you roll up the fat your stomach, isn't it?
So you're kind of different. You want to kind of grab it, inject.
I've got loads of fat.
Inject, hold for 10 seconds. So is he still on pens? Is he managing via pens?
As far as I'm aware, I've not spoke to him in a good while about it, but as far as I'm aware, the last time I seen him, he was still on pens.
Yeah.
Is there a different way of?
So some people will use pen injections. Some people, like me, I've been on an insulin pump. So you can get like a wee pump, and it basically just kind of transfuses insulin under your skin. It's a bit more advanced, so like have you seen people with like the kind of glucose sensors in their arms?
I've got one of the boys in my uni, Alistair. Shout out to Alistair because he's got diabetes. He's got one of them in his arm.
I thought that was like, do you know what? I knew that was something to do with like insulin, but I used to think people used to it was something to help them with energy and stuff.
No, he's
so it's an actual diabetic thing.
Measures the fluid or the interstitial fluid, so it kind of measures what your blood glucose is.
Is that why he does? He's a wee thing that beeps.
Scans it.
Is that what that is?
So rather than taking a blood sample, basically you can scan it, or it will send a Bluetooth signal to your phone.
That's wild.
So it's good. So the technology and advancements advanced a lot with diabetes. Like as you said before, insulin was only discovered in even less than 1922. So back then there was like no way of testing blood sugar. It was essentially, I think the way they diagnosed it, like back in like the ancient days, it was like. This is like the Egyptian times. You would basically just piss in the floor. They would get people who piss in the floor in advance, went on the piss, they knew they were diabetic because there was sugar in the piss. So it's not. We're not doing that nowadays.
We're not doing that nowadays. Not going up to the hospital pissing on the flare.
We're not doing that in NHS GGC.
Funding's not we need to get back.
I have a complaint with all these ants running about the place in the hospital.
That was the thing that I read, which, like I've said prior to the podcast, that when you hear somebody having diabetes, you just think it's the run of the mill.
Yeah.
Every granny and auntie's got it. It's not a big deal. But pre 1922, like if you were diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, there was it was fatal.
It was a death sentence.
Like within 2 years, I think they said 50% of people within the first 2 years passed away from it.
It's just scary when you think about that, considering it's not.
I've always thought about diabetes because I've always said this about because I've been around people with diabetes with type 1 as well. Going like it's scary. Like obviously we're in an era now where we've got the medical advances. We're kind of getting through things and there's more science. Whereas again, maybe even 60 years ago, I mean, people weren't as competent with it. Maybe they had insulin, but it was competent, and then they get all these people dying. And then again, like pre 1922, when people weren't going to doctors and getting examining stuff, like they're just dropping down dead and nobody knows why, thinking it's witchcraft or something.
I don't think they're thinking witchcraft.
Yeah,
19.
you never know, man. People just dropping down dead for something. Nothing wrong with them, because I think, have you ever had, is it a diabetic fit? Is that a thing?
Aye, so if your blood sugars go really low, you can go into like a hypoglycemic coma. No, I've never had that, thankfully. But then if the blood sugars, that's if there's not enough glucose going to the brain, you basically just pass out. But your blood sugars can go the other way. You were saying your mate was nigh to you. If the blood sugars go too high, you can get into what's called diabetic ketoacidosis.
Yeah.
Which is really serious as well. It's basically when there's like a lack of insulin in the body. So diabetes is essentially when there's too much sugar in the blood. It doesn't matter if it's type 1, type 2, gestational.
Yeah.
What happens in the type 1 is that there's tons of sugar in the blood. It's essentially like starvation, so that sugar can't get to where it's meant to go. So your body kind of needs sugar, it needs energy constantly. Your brain needs it. So what your body does is it starts breaking down like muscle tissue, organ tissue, liver,
Because when he came back out, he looked like he'd aged like 20 years. He looked grey and like he was just like his eyes were dark and honestly, I thought he was gone. But
your body cannibalizes itself basically to get fuel, and it produces a byproduct called ketones. And when they're at really high levels, essentially it's just toxic. It's toxic for the body. So
is that something to do with that diet keto?
It's different. So you've got nutritional ketosis and you've got like diabetic ketoacidosis, and a lot of people get mixed up with that. We can talk about that for like diets for type 1s. But you're seeing a lot of that nowadays, like with the carnivore diet and stuff. Have you heard about that stuff? People eating keto and
getting the body to switch from burning calories to burning fat. Is that something?
So instead of using like carbohydrate as a fuel source, they're switching to using like fat. Essentially, the body's using ketones.
It's just seeming. I've had family members try it, but it looks really unsustainable to me. I couldn't live like. Because you need to live like that. It has to be your life. You need to change.
If there's like a guy I've seen on TikTok and he does it. And everybody's like, one comment he gets all the times were your eyebrows, because the guy's getting the eyebrows, but he's like, he's stupid. No, but everybody goes, I mean, I've started the carnival and I've still got eyebrows. My doing something wrong. That's what people comment on him, right? But he does it. He's like, silly things will go, you can still live a carnival diet and go to Burger King. And he goes to Burger King, orders like 6 patties and all that. And you go, that's not a life. It's really not.
Because my family member, when he was doing the keto, his breakfasts were atrocious. They're like bacon fried eggs with sausages, and like it was just this greasy pot, and I'm going like that. As much as I understand the science of it, going that amount of fat and grease can't be good for you, especially if that's all your diet consumes of.
Especially when you see some of them, like, I know obviously some people do it, but it's like having a steak in the morning and then they're using, what was it he was using, the fat, but he was using that as grease to like dip in like a sauce, and you're going, that can't be good for you for a breakfast.
Have you seen the bulletproof coffee? Have you seen that one? That always blows my mind. Have you heard about that?
No.
Bulletproof coffee. So it's basically like black coffee, but they put like butter into it. Natural butter. So you're thinking if you're trying to lose weight, you're adding butter to coffee. So that it's kind of died down a wee bit, but a few years ago that was the craze. So all these people are like, oh, I'm being healthy, and you're like, mate, you're adding like fucking butter to your coffee.
Butter, that's not really that
coffee, man. No, I mean that's like pure West Coast of Scotland stuff.
Try to keep warm. Get the cholesterol up. Get the blood pressure going.
Yeah, the thing is with the carnivore diet, there's not been like any actual studies or any kind of research done on it. I think like keto diets, like, so there's different kind of like, it's like different kind of shades. So like you've got carnivore, which is essentially just meat, just animal products. They'll take a wee bit of honey, but then you've got like a ketogenic diet, and that'll be like limiting your carbohydrates to a certain amount.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So some people would say it needs to be under, say, 30 grams a day, 50 grams a day, which would be the equivalent of maybe like 30 grams would be like 2 small bits of bread, or maybe a palm size of rice. So there's different kind of grades to it, you know what I mean? Like how keto do you want to go almost?
So what's the perfect diet for type 1?
Yeah.
Perfect. Oh Christ, it's a hard question. If somebody was to come down and put a gun to my head and say, I would say probably how type 1's managed is obviously you need to take insulin. You need to take insulin, background insulin, or insulin to keep your blood sugar stable without food and at rest. Then you need to take insulin for your meals. And predominantly what you're doing is you're matching the insulin to the amount of carbohydrate. So obviously you know it's like your breads, your pastas, your rices and all that. The issue with type 1 is like when you inject insulin, like it doesn't really act the same way as what insulin would with you guys. Because like your insulin, it goes through what's called the portal vein in the liver. maybe getting a wee bit advanced here for a Saturday morning.
I know.
But
No long words in here.
words.
so you've got a big vein in your liver, and basically your insulin. It's like the daddy. The liver's the daddy, and the insulin goes through that, and it's like super quick, and it's really kind of just a really amazing piece of physiology how it works. But when you inject insulin, it's totally different. It's like comparing like a Ferrari to like a Ford Transit. So
it keeps you going, but it's not the best.
But it's just the body's mad in it. How like you just think you've just got a heart, lung, but it's just it just does its job. But when you actually like listen to what your actual body does,
It's
wild how just all this everything just works. What's meant to work.
It's meant to work,
But we come back to your question with the best diet. I mean, it's difficult to say. I would say, like in just my personal experience in working with patients, probably like a kind of lowish to moderate carbohydrate diet, because we know, like, just in a simple thing, if you were to take an alien doing 4 miles, it's like the food group that causes blood sugar to go high is carbohydrates. So if you keep them kind of lowish, you're keeping the amount of insulin you take low. So if you take too much insulin, your blood sugar's going to go low. If you take too much carbohydrate, if it's not matched to the insulin, your blood sugar's going to go high.
It's like a juggling match.
So if you're putting in low inputs, you're going to get low outputs. So if you're eating lower amounts of carbohydrates, lower amounts of injectable insulin, you won't have as much variance. You won't have as much kind of big swings in your blood glucose. And that's what we want. We want the blood sugars to be as stable as possible.
As they can, because you don't want to go up and down too much. Then it causes
a roller coaster.
Yeah, because that causes major problems.
You were saying I don't know, obviously you're going to talk about, you were saying your kidneys and whatnot. You were saying you knew some diabetic patients when you were getting like dialysis and stuff. So
when you're on dialysis, it's one thing you noticed. There was an old guy, and I can't remember his name because you deal with that.
Dave.
We call him Dave, but he had no legs.
David diabetic.
A David diabetic and no legs, right? And he was diabetic, and he just didn't care. And I think he was at that age where he was old, but he was like generally this guy he was an ex-alcoholic, wasn't allowed to drink, and he was buying like the cheapest of stuff, taking Viagra, sleeping with his bloody wife's nurse. Like generally, the guy was a different level. But you do see that a lot in dialysis. There's a lot of diabetics, especially in dialysis. Is you've obviously worked in the child industry, which we'll get into. You've dealt with it, but mainly dialysis, if you see it as a whole, is old people. Not many young people in there. And a lot of old people do have diabetes, as we spoke about. Type 2 diabetes is a kind of common one. So they've still got to obviously manage it to a certain degree. But see, when you're old on dialysis, they can't manage it as well as others. Because they're restricted themselves.
It's like GJ said on one of the podcasts, she's got Crohn's, and she's like, you don't just get the one illness.
It
all builds like a wee cluster of illnesses, mini ones just to keep you going.
That's it.
We spoke about like being on dialysis, because you obviously deal with kids and that in their diet. And they've got to restrict their fluids, the potassium, so they're doing all that, and then they've got diabetes, so they're having to kind of juggle everything together. And
it's just that.
For some of them, it's a struggle. So you do see some of them, it's kind of like give up, just like don't care, just do it
in the sand almost.
Yes, so you get that, and then you get the ones that do it properly, and they try and get the fitness up. But as I said, it's hard for them when they're on the machine 3 times a week, and then gone for their sleep, and then getting up to try it.
Or should be starving as well after all that getting put through. Then you're getting told, no, you can't have a bacon sandwich or so. I don't know the feeling how serious it gets.
Basically the worst potassium they tell you not to have is fruit. That's generally it. Fruit's like your amazing source of potassium.
Can you get, is a natural insulin that you can, is an insulin in foods? No.
Nah, so it's a hormone.
Is it right?
Hormone your pancreas produces. So it's essentially, it used to be back in the day, it used to be what was called, pig insulin. Right. So it used to be like pork insulin, it used to be what's called bovine insulin. So they used to actually get it for pigs and for horses. So they would basically...
I was going to say, pigs get used for everything.
Because they're doing kidneys now with pigs, isn't they?
They're testing that. I think poor pigs are getting raised for slaughter.
So they used to get it from animals back in the day, but nowadays it's like there's tons of different insulins. So there's ones that have got all different profiles. You've got really long-acting insulins, you've got short-acting insulins, you've got medium acting. It's like there's different insulins that last for certain amounts of time, but it's all made obviously by the big pharmaceuticals now.
So like
Novo Nordisk, Lilly, these are all the kind of big companies.
So they want
in.
kinda,
Big money.
Cashing in. They do cash
will
in.
be,
They
aye,
will
'cause
be
you need it,
cashing
don't
in.
you?
Big money, aye.
Aye.
Big money.
So it's weird that obviously, as you're saying, it's a hormone. It's not natural. You can really.
You can't get it from anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know, because you do speak to people and they go, but see if you try like shy legit and that, you could help yourself. Like, no, it doesn't work like that with some things.
Yeah.
You do get people, like, as you said, it is a hormone, so it's not natural, it really can do it. You do get people out there that still believe that.
It's wild though, like, see, bodybuilders and all that. Like, I don't know how new this is, but I hear of them taking insulin. It's like a thing for cutting.
So, is that a thing? Yeah,
They take insulin to help with energy levels and help with body fat.
I think a lot of bodybuilders will use it. So obviously, I know that I'm a bodybuilder, built at the side of a fiver. But a lot of the top level guys will use it, because what insulin does, like, how would that it's basically like the simplest way I would explain insulin would be like, when you go to a club, or when you used to go to dancing when you were younger, and you would have a big massive queue, like the bouncer is kind of like insulin. Like, insulin kind of decides, or it allows basically the sugar.
Yeah.
It allows the sugar to get from the blood into the different parts of the body. So your sugar, the glucose, can either go to your brain, which is what we want. If you don't have any glucose in your brain, bye-bye. Night Vienna. Secondly, glucose will go to your muscles. That's why, like, weight training, being more muscular, is going to be good for your diabetes, because your muscles store a lot of glucose. Then the other two places the glucose goes is going to be your liver. Your liver holds a lot of glucose. And also like fat cells. So what insulin does is it's basically just like it's a transport hormone. It does lots of things, but that basically gets the glucose from the bloodstream to different parts of the body. So if there's a big massive queue of people, like, basically, you know what I mean, the bouncer lets the people in. That's what the glucose does. The insulin does. It gets the glucose into the bloodstream. But to answer your question with the bodybuilders, what it does is it just shuttles nutrients. So you'll get a lot of bodybuilders that will take it, but they'll be taking it alongside stuff like, I don't know, growth hormone and all other stuff, testosterone and everything else. But I don't think like your average guy doing like pure gym would be taking insulin. But I think it's more like, that's more a kind of designer.
You're probably American
steroid. Designer story. But we can talk about, like, as well, have you heard about the kind of the GLP-1 antagonists, like the kind of skinny pens people are talking about?
That's good. Do you know much about this shit?
Because we've been talking about that.
What's the one called now that I keep
Mounjaro.
Mounjaro.
One by Lilly.
Because I watched a thing like showing you the benefits of it, and goes, it reduces appetite, or this kind of stuff, going, right, well, like, all the things that it's describing you could do yourself.
Exactly.
So I'm kind of confused, going, right, well, what does it do? Like, what is this? So
stuff? Originally, they were originally diabetic drugs, big up diabetes, back in the day. So they were manufactured to help with diabetes, and they still are. But what they do is they kind of, as you said, they slow down digestion. So they slow down digestion. They make you feel full.
Right.
So that's get benefits for diabetes, obviously, because you think when you eat foods, carbohydrate containing foods, they're going to digest. When they digest, they're going to turn into sugar. Your blood sugar's going to go high. So if you slow down the digestion, it means the blood sugar's not going to go as high as quickly. If you're feeling fuller, you're not going to eat as much, which is going to help with the weight maintenance and stuff as well. But essentially, like, what they do is they make you feel really full. And a lot of people, we don't know how the second part works, but they make people not think about food as much, which is mad.
It's a psychological one.
Yeah.
Do you think it's placebo though?
No, it's
definitely got
it works on the brain, and people don't become as food focused.
Because I'm seeing people drop like
James Smith. He done a podcast and he was talking about it, and he said he done it and didn't think there was anything to it.
Yeah.
Till he started realising he wasn't finishing.
Yeah.
Did you see that? Yeah. So basically, it was his partner that noticed it.
The thing that I look about it, going like, if you're going to do this to lose weight, I'm assuming you need to take it for the rest of your life.
Exactly.
No, because you've seen people. I know
if you come off it, you're going to get hungry again and start munching.
Yeah.
So these people take it to lose weight, and I've seen the side effects of people taking it, lose all their weight, and go, right, well, I'm not paying that £200 a month. Plus, I'm going to stop, and then put it all back on.
Like, there's a few people I've seen drop, and the lack of muscle definition is very obvious on the weight drop, going like that. Like, usually when I see somebody that's lost weight, they're going to the gym, they're eating well. The loss of weight comes with like a bit of muscle growth. But I'm seeing these people going, like, they're skinny, but they've got like nothing. Like, it's like their arms are so skinny, and I'm like, not a healthy look.
Aye, the way we would always say if somebody was on a diet would be like, it's like a when so when you fry, again my explanations
These
are
are brilliant.
ridiculous.
I like
but
them. I was going to bring them up.
Say when you fry like a burger, say when you fry like a burger at 20% fat, all you're doing is you're getting rid of the fat and you're keeping the meat. That's essentially when you're dieting down into. When somebody wants to get lean, you want to hold on as much muscle mass as possible.
But I assume if you get rid of too much fat though, that your body will start breaking down the muscle. Is that not a thing?
Yeah. Not really. Depends how lean you get. But we see with Mounjaro, as you said, there's a lot of muscle loss because what James Smith said as well, because your appetite's so suppressed and your calories are so low.
Your protein is low.
You can't eat enough protein.
Aye, because that's what his
your
was.
calories are so low, so
His was like
muscle. You'll lose muscle.
Aye, because I've not seen it. Like there is people out there. See if this is a thing, and there is people that should take this because
diabetics and stuff. People that are high risk. You know,
there's some people like I've got people in my life that are really overweight, and I'm going right. Well, I'm seeing these people taking they're 13 stone going into 11. Going, you could do that naturally. Not I mean, 100%. Like you're just a lazy bastard.
100%.
But there's people that have been fighting weight loss for their whole life. 100%. Going, if this gave them a boost, right? Say somebody's sitting 20 stone, got them down to like 12 stone. Gave them a new outlook in life that they're not just having to.
100%.
I mean,
that's what I've seen with it. Yeah.
I mean, Jink, that's something Johnny could take. No checks again, but it's no good for people with health conditions, though.
Aye.
No, that's the thing. So
kidneys
and that. I know people that have been taking that personally, and they don't need to. Like, there's generally no much weight they could date naturally and stuff like that.
Bastards. So if you're taking it, you're a lazy bastard.
But James was one of the ones that did say it. He lost, I think it was 9 kilogram in 2 weeks. He said. Something like that, and you're going, somebody did right, like I get over it might have been 9 or 4, like 1 or 2. I think it was 4, but it was like 2 weeks, and somebody went, you could have done that naturally.
Aye.
And you could have, but it was like a quick thing.
A wee test.
That's my worry with it. It's like, because like the benefits we've seen from it is it definitely improves glucose control, and that's the main thing. But it's a food focus. Like I've had patients in that's like guys and women, and they've sometimes come with their partner and like funny stories. But I remember one of the guys came in with his missus, and like this guy was like really motivated to change, and he had been losing weight. He was like newly diagnosed with type 2, so he was on small amounts of injectable insulin. So like with type 2s, however, if the longer they've had diabetes, the harder it can be to reverse it, to put it in remission. So with this guy, he was really motivated. I want to get off the insulin, but I think it was like his job was super stressful. He was traveling a lot. He had a big family. His family would eat takeaways. He was losing weight, but it was gradual.
Yeah.
But he got prescribed a GLP-1 agonist. Came in with his partner. Like, you could just tell the weight had come right off him. His insulin had went down. He was maybe taking 20 units a day, and it was down to like 2 units. He was hardly taking anything. And I was like to him, how are you feeling? And he was like, I don't think about food and all that. And his partner was there, and I said, how are you how are you feeling? Are you feeling happy? And she was like, this isn't a man I married. I was like, what do you mean? She was like, every night after dinner, if I'm having a bit of chocolate, I would always say to him, do you want a Malteser? And he would always take it. She goes, this is the first time for years he's been knocking back chocolate.
Mate, I hate that. Do you know what saying that? I hate when women do that. I just get some munchies, and I'm like, nah, I don't want any tonight, and they go in a mood.
I'll not have any then, because I just don't want, and you're like,
not eating it myself.
Not eating myself, this is a bad thing.
Yeah, but it does, there's some part of it switches off that food focus, and I think that's what we see with patients who are like really obese and overweight, and they do have issues with food. It's like they say for non-obese, or not people that are like not normal. I don't want to say normal, but just regular people.
Yeah,
you're not thinking about food all the time, but there is a sort of incessant kind of thoughts where it's like meal to meal. What am I having next? If you look like quite a muscular guy, if you've ever dieted, if you've ever done like a mad diet or got really lean, you're always thinking about food, isn't it? I've done it as well.
You were quite controlled when you were doing your weight loss.
But you're always thinking about your next meal, aren't you?
It's honestly, I say it's like a full-time job. You know what I mean? You're constantly thinking, and again, you start overthinking about everything you're eating, and then like, right, cool, have my lunch, going right, dinner. You found my dinner straight away, and then I used to even get my snacks out and keep them in a wee box, so that I didn't have to think about my snacks. Going right, well, they'll be my snacks. I used to always find that if I had my dinner between 7 and 8, then I had my snacks at like 10, half 10, that'd be me done for the night. Whereas, like, if I couldn't have that, I'd start freaking out. And it is a pure control thing, because you need to be controlled with your eating. And I get obsessed with food. See, the now, like, if like I have like, you know what I'm like eating, man, people actually say to me, like, watching me eat, I just like
Man
I don't
versus food.
I don't
generally is.
I
It
don't
is.
breathe when I'm eating. And I remember my mum years ago,
An Alsatian puppy.
That's what it's
just
like.
munching. I'm like, so I grew up in Weetabix, right? So I was Weetabix staff growing up, and my mum would say that, like, the time she handed me the bowl and turn around it the way, and she used to always go on and go, "You're going to end up with, was it indigestion and all that? Your stomach, I've never had indigestion in my life." And she'd see me eating, I don't breathe.
No, it's awkward when you go out for a meal with him.
I'm like,
So
one
me
of
and him
these
getting our dates, and generally I go at start eating, and he goes, "Finish," and I'm sitting there going, "You're up your dick. It's going to take me forever to finish this here."
I'm like one of these seagulls, no seagulls, the ones where they put the food in the fish and just swallow
that's
it.
what it's like.
So I'm just like with a burger, just get it done.
Aye.
No chewing.
No.
Pelican or something, I can remember.
Pelican, that's I've got no time for
So it's
chewing.
generally like that. You go out for a meal with him, and you're
But
sitting
it's
there,
my mind, I just want the food in and then move on, and I'm sitting there with an empty plate, just
and I'm
watching
just
everybody.
sitting there watching me. And you feel awkward when he's finished
And
watching
I hate,
you.
this is going to go into a pure rant. I hate long chews. See people that chew too much. I'm going like, what the fuck are you chewing? Like, my brother-in-law is terrible. He'll just sit there, just jog on with like a bit of a sandwich, and I'm going, come on, a sandwich for me is 2 bites and you're away. I mean, you get, mate, there's not enough hours in the day. Get him sitting there chewing at a sandwich, but
It's a big thing that, but on it we would always say patients like for appetite control and stuff is like chewing your food. So you're probably going to swing for me, but we would say like if people
Chew it
try
more.
to lose weight, to at least 20 chews.
20
20
chews?
chews per bite, man. So it should be like a paste.
It'd just
It
be
should
pure
like
saliva I'd be
It should
having.
be like chewing gum. It should be a paste.
Aye.
Because they say that like your brain takes at least 30 minutes to register
That
like
you've
you've eaten a meal.
Aye, I've
So
seen that.
if you're rattling it in 2-3 minutes, your brain doesn't
My
even
brain
know
just
you're
like, what's
eating.
going on?
Aye.
It goes from 0 to 100 real
'Cause
quick.
you had people doing when they were doing the weight loss, they were using baby cutlery at one
Aye.
point
Takes longer.
because it was taking
Aye.
longer for them to eat the meal.
Plus, the same with like the weight loss, like ready meals. I know they're really high in salt and stuff, but it really controls your quantity. Because I think us as the world, you know, we eat far too much.
Yeah.
I mean, like the plates are far too big for what you're eating. Like
100%.
all these like people think they need to eat so much. Whereas see, once you get used to it, like a lower volume of food,
Aye. You get used to it.
aye,
Yeah,
you're
you
totally
get used
fine
to
with it. I mean, and I used to be. My mum used to mound the plate up, see chicken and all that. Like I just the gravy, I'm drilling it now. It used to be a pure mound, but now if I'm trying to control myself, I'll just have it nice, wee portions.
Aye, your
away I
body
go.
gets used to it. Your stomach will get used to the portions. That's kind of what the Mounjaro and the dog they do. They make your stomach feel full. So say when you eat a big meal, what happens is like it basically stretches your stomach.
Aye.
When it stretches, that's when like the receptors
It's like a wee
basically
drum.
tell you you're full. That's what the injections do. Basically, they do that without you eating the food.
I might
So
take it just to save money.
Yeah.
I know it costs to buy,
Aye,
but man,
yeah.
the amount of fucking shit I
I was
could
going to say it would
fortune.
save you. There is people out there and won't take it and don't need it. That they've generally pure lied to get it, and you're going,
But
that's a shame.
is that something you'd have to be on for like a long?
That's the thing. I know that we don't really know. There's not been any like
Fully.
long term like kind of trials. I think in America it's been 5 years the biggest one. I don't know. Like that's my kind of personal thoughts. It's a bit extreme to say it, but I'm like, is it going to be a bit like methadone?
Yeah,
People
but that's
go
it.
on- It's like the Mounjaro train, the methadone
It's
train.
got
Like,
you stuck on
well,
it.
you go on
because
it and you're on it for
You'll
10
be addicted
years.
to it because the minute you come off it, just like steroids,
Aye.
like people that take steroids, the minute you come off it, they deflate and then they freak out
I
that
want
it
to
gets
get
6
big
weeks.
again. I want to get
So-
high.
I think the key thing if somebody was to subscribe or prescribe it,
Aye.
would be that like a short period of time to
Yeah.
lose the major amount of body
Yeah.
fat, over excessive,
Yep.
and then start transitioning into training and dieting,
Yeah.
like proper dieting.
There's
Yeah.
different doses and stuff for it as well. So like you would start at the maintenance dose is 5 milligrams. It starts at 2.5 milligrams and it goes up to 15. I've never heard anyone going up to 15. I think the highest I've heard is 7.5.
Aye.
Most people they
So, yeah, I've heard about 5. That's what I see on
milligrams. That's the
TikTok and that.
maintenance, and it's quite gradual. But as you said, I think for like people using it, like you said, people just want to lose a bit of weight. It's probably not the best, but that's the way it's going to be because it's going to be if you've got the money, if you can pay the 150 quid a month. If you're wee Dave that's going to Ibiza with the boys and you want
that's
to
it.
you want to lose a stone to look
I mean,
a bit
I've
weight,
been
better be a tap half.
I've been tempted to do it just to see because I'm looking at the benefit,
feel it.
going like that, going well, I could do that myself, but like you're saying, the psychology, like the kind of mind side of things, I would be interested to see what it actually done.
It works, man. It's
Aye.
equivalent. I think it's basically the same as you said. You were talking about anabolic steroids. Like, obviously, I've never used steroids, and I would never advocate anybody does. But the results are like that. In the studies, like you've got people that you could just take Mounjaro or take a GLP-1 and not do anything else, and you lose weight. It's that powerful. It's the same as guys that will just blast testosterone.
Aye.
Go to the gym once a week, half-arse it, and they'll put on 3/4 of stone of muscle.
Aye.
You know what I mean? They'll go to Nando's and get a chicken burger. They'll get jacked. That's how powerful the medication is, and I think that's why it's so popular, isn't it?
But is it long term though, in the sense of what's the long term side effects of it? Because this is the thing people don't know.
Same with vapes. I just see people that take vapes.
Yeah.
I'm going but it's better than smoking. Going, how do you know?
Aye.
I mean, you don't smoke a cigarette and get cancer the next day.
Smoking in the 60s, when all the adverts, it was promoted as good health.
Healthy.
It loses your appetite, it does all this, and then now you're going, and that was so many years. So we've got the exact same, so all this stuff coming out.
There's always got to be something.
There always got to be something.
We don't know. That's the thing with the Mounjaro, and I'm by no means an expert on it, but there's some stuff I've heard in America are like people developing like what's called gastroparesis. So that's a complication of type 1 diabetes. You've got a big nerve in your stomach called the vagus nerve, and it's like probably one of the most important in your body, but that controls like kind of emptying of the stomach. But obviously what the GLP-1s or what Mounjaro does is that slows down gastric emptying. So there's been some people in America that have been like heavy users, or they've been big users of the GLPs, and what they've done is when they've came off it, it's actually damaged their stomach motility. So their stomach basically isn't digesting at the normal rate. So what that could mean is like if you've got gastroparesis, it just means like the food just sits in your stomach for too long. You end up like being sick. It's horrible. End up with a lot of reflux.
End of the day, it's not natural.
No, it's not a natural thing.
If you're having to inject or consume like medication, it's no natural for your body. So it's got to do some form of damage. Even medication you're on that's saving your life, it's still damaging you at the same time.
There's always a risk.
There's always a risk, because unless it's I generally say it, see, when it comes to all that stuff, unless it's for health, in a sense, as you said, for diabetes to start with,
saving your
stuff
life,
like that, saving your life. Other than that, I don't see what. I get losing weight's a big thing. I understand that. But see, when you're getting people that generally, as you spoke about, can do it naturally, it's generally they've got a bit of stone to lose, and I'm going 2 months, 3 months, 3 months of a slow diet would do that good. Just like a wee bit of walking and a slow diet in 3 months, that would be a stone gone. But they're going, I can lose it in like a couple of weeks here. And it's scary.
Fix, so everybody wants
It's constant. That's what people want, the easy train. You know what I mean? They want the one stop. They don't want to get a 2 stops. And I remember, like, I was selling a car to somebody, and they were trying to figure out how to get to me. I said, right, well, Paisley Gilmore is the closest train station. Sent them a link thing and going, nah, it's got 2 stops. I'm no dent. I don't want to do that. And I'm going, well, like, what else? He stays in Fort William. I'm going, I don't know what else you want me to do here. You know what I mean? Like, unless you get a taxi for Fort William to here, then
which is the dearer option.
But it's the less moving option.
Yes, so I think that's what we've got the situation with this now. Is it was there for a purpose. It was there to help people, as you're saying, with diabetes, but now it's just getting abused in a sense, I would say, by some people that don't need it. Yeah, as I said, there is people out there that are some 25 stone people taking it, and you're going, perfect, it's glowing and everything for them, it's doing amazing. But then you've got the people that are like generally 13 stone gone.
There's
you made a great point, like, because I think initially when they came out, I was a wee bit of a purist, and I was like, oh, I don't believe in it, and you know, people can lose the weight. But when you work with people who do have, like, you know, maybe challenges with food and they are obese, it's like
it's an addiction as well.
What the Mounjaro does is it maybe, or the GLP-1 does, is it maybe gets like, you know, a stone and a half of them. It gives them that wee confidence boost. I've lost it. People might go, oh, you start looking good, Kieran, you're like great, and they might start feeling good about themselves. They might start going to the gym. They might start eating a bit healthier. It just creates this like positive kind of feedback.
It's 100%. And it's like there's an injection out there to stop people from drinking alcohol. You know what I mean? If you drink alcohol, even mouthwash, it make you be sick. You know what I mean? So it's it's like training the brain, and it's just trying to train out that addiction.
Yeah. Have you ever heard that Orlistat was a medication that used to get used a lot? It's kind of, I don't know if it's still prescribed, but that was big in the weight loss circles for years.
No, I've not heard of that one.
And it would basically be if you ate anything, a meal that had like more than, I think it was 10 or maybe 15 grams of fat. So if you ate a meal that was kind of moderate, medium or high in fat, you would basically get like diarrhea.
Was that?
You just pass shit out, So
that can't be good for you.
But that was huge. Like back
sounds like a curry to me. That
we know ourselves. You get diarrhea, your fluids and everything go. That can cause major problems.
I know, because I remember me and my wife had norovirus maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, and I had it for like, I was quite, I've just started the shits and puking, maybe for about 12 hours to maybe like 16 hours. She had it for over nearly 2 days, and her calves were like dragging up with the lack of hydration. I couldn't get her to drink water. She was just, I actually thought I was this close to phoning an ambulance because I was having to massage her muscles to stop them from cramping up. And she lost something like, I think within 2 days, she lost something like 6 or 7 pounds. Her whole body was just shutting down just from diarrhea. A really bad case of diarrhea.
So that tablet probably wouldn't have been any good then, no.
It was not bad, but it was quite a brutal. It was a brutal medication. It did kind of work, but as you said, it was kind of training people. So like if people would maybe be having, it would literally be if they had like a wee bar.
They'd be scared.
They would be running into the toilet. So it was, I don't know, psychologically.
It's like the wee spray you got with the cat.
I
mean, stop doing something, and eventually the cat would stop doing it.
So I think that's how the Mounjaros became so good. There is side effects to it. A lot of patients do get kind of like a bit of diarrhea. They do get a bit of kind of sore stomach, but normally after a couple of weeks it does pass. So when you compare all this that to it's night and day.
Night and day, that's it. So let's talk about your journey and how you got diabetes growing up and that. Do you want to speak about that?
Aye. So I've not always been a diabetes. I've not always been a dietitian. I used to work in like basically hospitals. I was like a radiographer, so I used to do a lot of the kind of X-rays and the scans, and MRIs and all that. And I was doing my training. I was up in Aberdeen at the time, and basically it was like one day we got to kind of go around different departments, and I was working with a doctor, and he was like, "I've got this patient. She's got like query diabetic foot. Do you know what that was?" And we're chatting away. So he was like, "This was. I mean, I'm 36, so this wasn't yesterday. This was you're talking maybe 17, 18 years ago." So he was checking her blood sugars. Obviously, and the lady's blood sugars were really high. And he was like, you know, blah blah blah. He's like, "Do you know the symptoms of diabetes?" And I was like, "First," and like peeing all the time. Then I was like, "It's weird. This is I've been like really first. I've been like really thirsty, and like I think I've lost weight." And the doctor was like, "Oh no, like you're a fit guy." And I says, "No, seriously." Like he was like, "All right." He says, "Well, what we'll do is we'll test your we'll test your blood sugars. I'll show you how the meter works, and you can test your blood sugars." So done a finger prick, checked my blood sugars, and they were like sky high. They were like 20, I think they were 27 or something.
It's a shite way to learn, isn't it? Finding out you get diabetes, trying to train.
But it's a good way as well, because it's in the hospital, so it was like 27. So obviously, I mean, I think the way I was diagnosed, like, probably it was like so non-professional, but it would never have happened nowadays.
What do you think? Do you think if you weren't in that position, that situation, that you would never have? Would you
probably would have been hospitalised?
Because you wouldn't have went to a GP or anything. Because you'd have
thought natural.
Because you're a young person that's going through a lot of this medical. I imagine you're working all the time. You're knackered, so you're just
tired. Getting having a few beers. So basically, it kind of cascaded for there. So they contacted my GP.
Get your gown on, Kieran.
Yeah, it was funny, you'll laugh, but it was funny because this was on. I think it happened on a Thursday, I'm sure. So he phoned my GP in Aberdeen, and they were like, "Aye, so to get diagnosed with diabetes back then, it was like you needed what was called a fasted blood sugar." So basically, a blood sugar of 20. Nowadays, if somebody had a random blood sugar of 27, we would test what's called their antibodies. So you would look at their antibodies to see are they still producing insulin? Could it be this? Could it be that? But back then, they were like, "Oh, we need to do a fasted blood sugar." So that's when you go in. You've no eaten anything. You've no had your dinner the night before. You've no eaten any breakfast. You've no had any drinks with carbohydrates, and you get a fasted blood sugar. So you're basically looking at your blood with nothing in your system, nothing that can make it go high. So they were like, "Oh, you need a fasted blood sugar to confirm it," which wouldn't happen nowadays. So I had to go to my GP on the Friday, but because it was a Friday, we all know GPs are shut Saturday, Sunday. So I went and got the blood done on the Friday morning, and the guy was like, "I will have the results on Monday." Obviously, I'm diabetic, so I went home for the weekend. Obviously, I'm sure I went to like the garage nightclub. Got. I think I was on the vodka Diet Cokes, but that probably brought my blood sugar down.
That full Coke.
I had like a Sunday dinner. I don't think I had the caramel shortcake for my dessert.
I
went back up to Aberdeen on the Monday, and I got diagnosed. Then I was on placement at the time, and I just went down. And I remember going down and speaking to one of the diabetes doctors. They gave me a couple of insulin pens. They were like, "I just take this and this." It was pretty pretty chill.
Just have a couple of
there you go, pal. Just have that.
Like we've said at the start, going, People treat diabetes now as just kind of, all right, you've got that now, here you go. Maybe because advances are quite strong, like
nowadays.
advanced now, but it isn't a big a deal. Whereas again, 100 years ago, you got
Yeah,
diabetes,
indeed.
you'd all been greeting you, but your mum and dad's fucking freaking out.
Aye, so that was it. So I got the insulin pens and kind of got a bit of education, but it was kind of like at that point I was like, Jesus, man, like I remember it was a woman I was working with. She was a bit of a dragon, and it was one of those kind of like turning moments. She was like the kind of superintendent, or she was in charge of the kind of the radiography imaging department.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, obviously I got diagnosed when I was in placement and stuff, and she was like, oh, diabetes, type 1 diabetes, that's really serious, that's a death sentence, that's going to take years off your life.
Aye.
And I remember she said it to me, and I was like 18 at the time, and I was pure raging. And I said to myself, no, it's no, I'm going to learn all about this, and I'm going to skill myself up in this. And I think that's what kind of led me down the path of becoming a bit obsessed with it. But then it kind of made me transition into studying the nutrition and the dietetics.
Does it now take any years off your life, type 1? Again, is it all about how you deal with it?
How well controlled. Generally, I would say, I think on average, type 1, they would say, I think the latest, but you've got to, the research that's out now was probably done 15, 20 years ago, if that makes sense. But I think they would say on average, it's probably about 5-6 years it takes off your life.
Fuck. It's not that bad, isn't it? I mean,
but then if you're well controlled, but it's hard to say, isn't it?
But it's the worst thing most illnesses, they say
Same
that,
with
but
you, though, with your renal, they'll say to you, because you've had transplants, you'll be whatever high risk, but it's
it's high risk. It's in the sense of you've got all your, and obviously genetics as well for your families, your environment. So if, like, as I said, there was people in dialysis that gave up. So when you've went in there and you're gearing up, you can see that, like, you've seen it yourself, you see it like degrading. Like the body's just starting to go. You can tell.
I always find that, see, when it comes to medical side of things, I think when people's mind gives up, the body's straight after.
If you're positive about it, I've always said this, always positive, turn the negative into a good, as you've done. You're helping people now because of yours. You always do that, and it keeps you going. Whereas if you bring it down, you'll be done in no time. But I don't think, obviously there is science out there saying it does. But as we just spoke about, like 100 years ago, you were dying for it straight away.
Game over, right?
So, with the most advances, the way it goes, because everything's advancing, but they're not, it sounds weird, but they're not caught up with advancement looking at the past. So, for instance, they're telling you, oh, you've got 6 years. That was 15 years ago. They've done these studies. So now you're way advanced technology. And then they could turn around and go, nah, this doesn't change now.
My trade was killing people in their 40s and 50s. I mean, when a spray painter, like 15, 25 years ago, because they were using cellulose paints. So it was like lead poisoning because there was lead in the paint. So I had a guy, Donkey, he was a painter through the 90s, and he lost most of his organs, half his liver, everything gone. And he only painted this, it was a certain place because it was a big, they were getting sued and all that. Like, he only worked in this place for 4 years. So 4 years of this, doing this job. He's dead, he passed away, but like, it just took his life because his body was just deteriorating.
That's what we said. The environment is where you go as well, and it's how you take to it. And the new medication's changing every time, and
that's it, man.
It's gone. So I think with them saying your life could be thing with, your life's up to you. It's in your hands. I've always said that it's in your hands. Like, let's put it this way: I could have gave up already, and I could have went, nah, just can't be bothered. And
there's a young lassie on TikTok now. She's just been diagnosed with cancer. I don't know if you've seen her. She shaved her hair off.
No.
And reposted it. She does admit, though, I'm not putting out my bad days. You know what I mean? I'm trying not to project that. I'm putting out my positive stuff and try to keep myself believing. I'm going, well, like, if she keeps that mindset up, I'm not saying it's going to cure her, but it'll give her a far better body.
Definitely. Just being positive in general is going to be a lot better than being a victim in it.
But it's 100%.
That victim mindset, why me? You see that a lot with diabetes now. There is a lot, especially with the type 1, type 2 as well, but there's a lot of kind of psychological, a lot of people with like depression and sort of, stuff like
again,
that.
It snowballs from one issue with
that's it.
With it.
But as you said as well, like nowadays, like even from when I was diagnosed, like we never had the CGM, so like you were basically just like pricking your finger.
Because I used to have to get that on dialysis because it's one thing they always check you for, and about once a week. And I'm not going to lie, I don't know how you could do it because it used to fucking annoy the shit out of me.
I used to go to my grandpa's and he had diabetes, he was type 1, and I used to do it myself just.
You're a weirdo.
As a rebel, you know what I mean?
And then when you get into hospital, they used to wake you up and do it, and you're like, give you a needle, you'd be sitting there, they'd take your blood out, you'd be fine, they'd go, right, we need to prick your hand, and then you'd be wide awake because of the wee shock in it.
So even that, like being able to like see, like what your blood sugar's doing over a 24-hour period, that's amazing. Like back in the day, they never even knew the impact of like carbohydrates to a certain extent and blood sugar. You would basically just check your blood sugar when you woke up before bed, and you would maybe check it before meals. So you'd maybe be checking it 5-6 times a day. So you could be having your, whatever, waking up, having your Cocoa Pops, your blood sugar could be fine. You take your insulin, your blood sugars could go to the moon, and they would come down. Then for your lunch, you'd check it before lunch. Oh, I'm fine, but you don't know your blood sugar's coming up at 12, 13, 14.
Because he used to check, Alistair used to check his when we'd go out for lunch, because we're going out for breakfast tomorrow.
Yeah.
And he always checks us before he eats. And then he'll go to the toilet, then sometimes he'll know, sometimes he will. Yeah. Just because he always gets wee, I always call it his heroin bag. I always say that. I used to wind them up and go, is that you away? He used to say it in the middle of uni, going, is that away, you're getting heroin again?
Well, like with the myth, like as I said before, like people thinking like, oh, eating too much sugar is what causes diabetes. But what is the cause of, I know with
type
the
1
same,
and type 2? Or,
is it geneticness
totally
to it?
That's what I was going to ask you, because you've got a kid that's genetics.
So there is a small. So I think if one parent has type 1, I think there's about a 10% chance the child will have it, but they don't really know. They think a lot of it's it's an autoimmune disease.
Yeah.
So it's like any other autoimmune disease, lupus or celiac or anything like that. It's the body's essentially attacking itself and destroying itself. We don't know the reason for that.
See, I always think that, are we as a human race getting weaker, or is it just knowledge getting more? I mean, because 100 years ago was just as many people getting diabetes as there is now.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. It's on the increase. The strongest research we have for it is the strongest thing is that countries that have countries further away from the equator have higher instances of type 1. So there's a strong link between vitamin D levels, type 1, but there's also a strong link between low vitamin D levels and a lot of other conditions. So you said it was MS. So a lot of people with low levels of vitamin D, MS is where it's higher. So MS is really high in like the Scottish Islands, so that's a big one. Low levels in sunlight, low levels.
Because they're saying in Scotland, like, actually, we're talking about vitamin D. There was a statistic that Scottish people only see 10% of the sun or something like that. Such a low level of natural vitamin D that vitamin D should be. So like people should be taking it every day to keep their body.
I get that's when they give me my vitamin D. That's one of the tablets I take.
Get it prescribed. It's probably it's involved in everything. It's not. I don't even think it's not even a vitamin. It's like a.
Would you get an orange juice? Is that vitamin C?
Vitamin C,
bastard.
Vitamin D.
I thought you're getting the sun in a cup.
Sunny D.
Sunny D.
Rattling the Sunny D.
I had a bottle of that Sunny D recently, and it's pure pish now.
Has it?
Heartbroken. I seen it when
take all the sugar at it,
and it was just water. It was just diluting juice. I was people glowing like changing colour or something. Was that just a myth thing?
That was a myth, like the wee aliens.
No, the aliens.
Do you remember them wee aliens making babies? It's just myth.
Just the government lying to us again.
No, it's because we didn't have internet. The myths were actually amazing. Some of the stuff you used to hear. So
vitamin D is super important, man. It's involved in everything. So we would say take it if you can. If you see it with kids and stuff, your wee ones, they would have done the vitamin D drops, wouldn't they?
Yes.
They would have done all that.
Yeah, they do all that stuff. That's what they do.
Catholic schools, I don't know.
Do you do that with your kid, with your wee one, when they're baby? Give them the wee drop of vitamin D.
No, I've heard it.
So it's free. It's free. So it's like healthy starts.
He has his vitamins he takes, but that's just ones we buy, like the wee multi
jellies. Sounds like Hulk Hogan. Who
takes his vitamins?
So with kids and stuff now they're prescribing it because they are knowing there's definitely a link between low vitamin D levels and diabetes
and energy levels as well. Because when we ran out of vitamins and we noticed that in Rowan, that we'll get it eventually, and it was a good couple of weeks, and see him at night, it was just crashing. Just crashing big time.
That's a good thing for Rowan.
Well, we actually need to take him back to the doctors because he keeps complaining of sore stomach, and I took him maybe about 3 weeks ago, and what it is he's eating, in a couple of bites he's complaining of cramping, and I'm going like that. It's like, it's hard to explain because I'm on his body to go, right, you've just needed, but when he goes to the toilet, it does help. He's in the toilet, passes gas, away he goes. But when I went to GP, they just kind of went, well, there's nothing we can do. There's nothing obvious that we can see. And it's annoying, that type of things, because like I had Gigi on with the Crohn's going, your mind starts going like, what, he could have something here, and I'm just ignoring it. But anyway. You'll learn that.
Aye, learn the hard way.
Aye, so type 1's like basically it's like when your body destroys the insulin, so you can essentially make insulin, so you need to take that via injections. But type 2 is going to be mostly, it is genetic to an extent, but a lot of it is kind of lifestyle.
Yeah.
If you're interested, when you're up in type 2, the main guy is a guy called Roy Taylor. So he's like kind of, he's a boy. He's the kind of,
he's a top dog, basically.
Him and a guy in Glasgow called Mike Lean, they're the two kind of top guys in type 2, especially with the kind of reversal of type 2. And people think like, oh, type 2, it's all like overweight people. Like it's not really true. You're getting more and more slimmer people and younger people with type 2. They reckon it's something called your personal fat threshold. So PFT, and it's basically like they're saying that everybody's body can essentially hold or can have a certain amount of fat, and once you go past that threshold, that's when you'll start to develop signs, or you'll basically start to develop type 2 diabetes. So it's maybe like, say for example, of like you see it a lot, maybe your natural weight. Like for me, for example, I've always been quite slim. I've always been quite lean. So even I'm knackered. I've got type 1, but I've never had type 1. For me, maybe if I was to take up to maybe 14 stone or 14 and a half stone, I could develop type 2. But maybe you look as if you're maybe naturally like a bigger guy.
Well, that's the thing. I've always spoke about this, and I've said this to people. I'm going, well, I was 12 and a half stone up until probably the age of like 22.
Right.
And then I said, there's a seal. I definitely think your body's got this seal. And see the minute you pop past that, it's like, whoa. So my body naturally sits at 15.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's what I mean.
It's not my healthy. I don't feel the healthiest. It's weird. I'm probably running about the 14 stone mark is when my body feels comfortable.
That's quite heavy. That's a good weight for like your size. Because how tall are you? You're like 5, 6 foot or something.
6 foot, aye. So it is a lot of. But I feel like I'm not. I'm big boned, right? I feel naturally.
Big tall guy,
hang with like I can feel my weight. So I see when I was thinking people are like yourself, like your kind of weight, you must feel that. But you're used to it. Like your feeling must be your normality. Whereas I can feel my body weight creeping up and I feel uncomfortable. So I definitely think seeing the minute that seal broke, and I think I've got another seal. Whereas if I popped past maybe the 15.5 stone mark, boom, I could be like 18, 19 stone. But I feel like your body does have.
So you know that there's a seal that does tell you that you'll hit that, basically.
Essentially, and that's what they're saying. It's going to vary from person to person. What like Roy Taylor and that says, like essentially the weight you wear at 20, 21, that's the weight you want to maintain like for the rest of your life. So you maybe get the guy that maybe they maybe would wear like a 30-inch waist jean when they were 18.
Good old days.
Then they go up to like a 34 or a 36. What they say is you should always be able to have that 30. Because people go, well, I'm not that overweight. I don't know how I've got diabetes, but you're like, but you are overweight compared to what you're settling.
Your body was.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I've always said that, see, because people are skinny doesn't mean they're healthy. People get mistaken with skinniness and healthiness. There's definitely a very, because you get like that video of the guy. The guy must have been 17, 18 stone, really overweight, but he's an ex-gymnast, and he's sitting here doing all these flips and all this stuff and running, doing it like a 400 metre. And I'm going, that shouldn't be.
He's probably got a lot of muscle.
Well, the muscle will be obviously under there somewhere, in the way is. But like, I can't run the length for myself. But I choose not to. I mean, I don't want to. See people running, I'm like, no. I feel like your heart's like an engine. I think if you overdo your heart, like especially now, like, people passing away with heart attacks now is fucking. It was actually, I'm just rambling on here. Joe Rogan had somebody on that was actually studying Scotland due to their high increase of heart attacks since 2021, I think it is. So apparently we are very noticeable over there that we're getting more, because that's 5 people now this year that I know have passed away with heart attacks in ages from 21 up to 60 odd. So it's, I think that I've always thought that. So you see people sprinting and running and cyclists. I always think your heart's like an engine, and if you over rev it, then you're going to go pop.
It's difficult, isn't it? Scotland was a kind of heart disease. Europe, wasn't it, for a while? And that's what most diabetics are die for. It's not actually diabetes that kills diabetics. It's strokes and cardiovascular disease. You've got kind of what's called like macrovascular and microvascular. So macro means big, micro small. So the big vessels, so like heart attack, stroke, that's what most of them die from. Then you've got microvascular as well, which is a wee vessel. So that's why like diabetics will always be worried about their eyes. So the blood sugars are too high, can damage the vessels in the eyes, can cause blindness. obviously can cause the blood flow to the feet.
So
to the
lost the
legs.
limb, as I said,
the guy
the
legs
legs dropped off.
If you're a guy, unfortunately, it can affect the blood
does
vessels.
it? Aye.
And that's what I'm saying. He used to
blood
take.
vessels to
He
your.
used to inject Viagra.
Did he?
Right.
Aye.
Aye.
You can
But can you-
inject it. He used to inject
This
it.
is a random question, just because you're talking about like affecting, like, see, gout, is that anything to do with diabetes? No, because
Because I know somebody that's got, and it's not.
is it not anything to do with it? I don't know if it's just something I remember reading, and it's saying it's like if people that get gout, they tend to find that they've got diabetes. I don't know.
Sorry, I'm trying
My
to
mum's-
avoid my questions. I've actually got questions for you near the end.
Aye.
And
Aye,
I want
because
my
my
phone to
mum's
go
got gout and diabetes, and gout's a terrible thing to have. Luckily enough, it was only one of her fingers that stayed, because it just totally deforms. Like it's mainly your hands and your feet. Whereas I had an old customer, he was well in his 70s and 80s. He had to have special shoes made. His hands and everything just curled up, and you couldn't do nothing. It was a shame. But it's one of the ones I've always just assumed. I thought gout had something to do with diabetes, undiagnosed.
Weird
Or something. Aye.
So obviously you are a dietitian, as we spoke about.
Yeah.
So we're talking about dealing with the kids. Is that a kind of hard thing for you to kind of, because obviously dealing with adults, it's obviously hard trying to explain to them, but kids, it's a different story. And especially when you've got kids, you look at things a bit differently. How's that, dealing with the kids and trying to...
That was when I was a student. I worked with the kids. It's predominantly just adults I work with
Oh,
at
is
the
it?
minute. But like I could segue into another part. Like, I work one day a week. I work with like pregnant women.
Yeah.
I've got what's called gestational diabetes.
Yeah, my cousin had that when she was pregnant. It was only...
So I do that on a Tuesday, and like I really enjoy that because you do feel like it's not just the mum. You're also kind of
Looking after the baby,
for the parent as well. So that can be quite stressful. Or even if you've got little ladies that are type 1 or type 2 that are pregnant and they're coming to you for diet advice or advice with their insulin, you do feel a lot of pressure. But I do enjoy that job, and you do find like the women they're really motivated to change.
Yeah, it's good that, because it does help them, especially because pregnancy, even just a normal woman having been pregnant, they get put through so much trauma, and especially get that added on, it's like an extra bit they don't need. And it's because my cousin had it and she was really, it's buggered her up completely. She was completely shocked compared to what it was. Natalie, it was naturally for her.
Type gestational diabetes.
Yes. And they're looking at it now, it could continue.
Type 2.
Type 2.
So about 20% of the ladies who've got gestational, they'll go on to develop type 2.
Aye,
So that's why we would try and say the difficulty thing is during pregnancy, as you probably know, you can't recommend that ladies intentionally lose weight or lose fat during pregnancy. You need enough calories for the baby. So it's difficult. It's difficult. Then
an knife edge in it.
Then when maybe they've had kids, it's like, you know yourselves, like you're not sleeping as much. Maybe
I still don't sleep. She's nearly 2 and I'm about 3 hours a night if I'm lucky.
You don't sleep as much. Maybe meals and stuff, you're maybe grabbing things here and there. So it can be hard to make lifestyle changes when you've got a newborn. So it's
Don't
tricky.
recommend it.
So the weight can creep up. So, but no, I do enjoy working with pregnant ladies, and that's kind of what motivates me as well. Because I'm like, it's not just like you're not just helping them; you're kind of potentially helping their child. And
that's
it's
it.
just and also good with that is like, see, catching this type, is it gestational? Is that it gives the mother, also the parent information and knowledge, and then it gives them knowledge to pass on for their children, so they can look out for it or help them with diets and go well, you don't want this as well. So it's again information.
There's a lot of nutrition, as you say, with the kids. They mimic what you eat, isn't it?
Yep,
like, you know what I mean. If they say you eating healthy meals and vegetables and fruits,
I know. See, I wasn't too good.
They're more likely to do.
We taught our daughter how to walk with a Pringle. So she seen me eating Pringles, so I'm like, come get, and that's what they've got a video of it. First step she did was she was walking towards a Pringle.
But flavour, but that's a big question.
Barbecue.
Barbecue.
I knew it was. I didn't even see it. I knew that was going to be.
She loves, so she likes these wee barbecue chicken griddles. I can't remember where we get them from, but honest to God, like, and you say that, like, people go, oh, watch what you feed your Wayne's, going, see if your Wayne's not eating anything.
Like,
get him to eat something.
My oldest is he's 10.
So picky.
So picky, and I mean, it's generally just chicken
as long
nuggets,
as he's
chips,
eating something.
But he's eating. That's what it does for us. But my youngest, she eats what I eat. So I never used to buy fruit. No, I buy fruit for myself. Not enough because it would get wasted.
No, so it's like, can't eat too much.
But now she eats all raspberries, everything. So me and her can get the fruit now. It's good that way. But as you're saying, kids imitate what you do. So she eats what I eat.
Man.
So if I'm eating healthy, like chicken and rice, I'll eat her and she'll try and copy me.
Fish cakes.
Broccoli, nice fish cake. He was actually on an advert
Seen
earlier.
him, that
Fish
body.
and ice cake.
Fish
Fish
and
cake,
ice cake.
aye.
Fish and ice
But
cake.
I think he's hilarious. You see him in TikTok.
Yeah.
He talks about
Massive,
how.
He's in a
isn't he?
dating show, wasn't he?
He's
There?
massive,
Aye.
isn't he?
But he was
Aye,
talking about
aye,
how
aye.
basically
He's blasting the steroids.
That's not
no,
what-
he's been packing it on.
that's not what he actually ate. Like it generally,
Aye.
he was a
Edited
young
it.
boy, and they just confused him. And he's like fish and a rice cake. Like he just didn't know what to
Aye.
say. But it's good that the kids are learning in a sense, like from their parents.
That's it.
Because even then, I'm sure Natalie said to one of her friends that were pregnant, you should get tested for that if you're feeling like that.
Yep.
And I don't think she had it. I don't know if she was in the cuff of having it. Like she was that stage where she was, and as you're saying, it's educational. You're informing
Aye.
other people,
Aye.
and it helps them, which is good.
Yeah.
So, how long has it you been doing it for now?
I've had diabetes myself for nearly 20 years, but I've been working for 18 months in my post.
Okay, nice.
So if you get like, I sound angry, but if you got like, regulars, but you get what I mean, like kind of ones that you see. Because I know I've seen my dietitians, and it's like when you got,
Aye.
I see post dialysis and pre dialysis dietitians. I only see them like once,
Yeah.
but there's other people that were just getting in quite a lot because they
Aye.
weren't sticking to it in a sense.
Yeah.
So
Sort of, it's more like it's more kind of like I'll try and see patients, maybe like I'll do like a block with them, but it's more like you're trying to kind of, it's like give a man a fish, teach a man how to fish. So
Aye.
for me, I always try and like educate the
Aye,
patients.
aye.
I'd rather take a bit longer and do a few sessions with them and try and get them really like tooled up so that they can manage their own diabetes
Aye.
rather than just saying, oh, do this, do that, because you're not teaching them anything.
Yeah.
No.
But ultimately, that's what we want, especially with type 1, but type 2 as well. You want to give people the tools and the confidence so that they can go away. They can manage
Aye.
it themselves. They know
That's
what
it.
they're doing, and it's like, look, I'm here if you need me. Because
But-
it's a self-managed, it's a
Aye, it's
self-managed
nothing
disease.
you
anybody else
can't you
can do
can't
for
you
them.
can't generally feed them. You can't
No,
go,
no.
here's your meal, eat that.
No,
They've got to do it
no,
themselves. It's
no.
all about them.
It's all about them empowering themselves, educating themselves, and aye, exactly.
So there'll be younger people watching this. Obviously, they've got diabetes and that.
Yeah.
It's a serious question here. Do you feel diabetes affects your lifestyle being a father? Do you think it changes anything of that?
Aye, you've obviously got to be like, you've obviously just got to be safe. So you've got to watch it for your blood sugar going too low, going too high, stuff like that. But I think in a way it kind of forces me to kind of, as you said, with the wee ones imitating, forces me to probably make better food choices with
Yeah.
my daughter, and be more kind of, just be more present and be more kind of mindful of like keeping healthy and keeping in shape and stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously, we being type 1, the main risk is going to be low blood sugars. So especially with kids as well, they're so active.
Yeah,
Aye,
it's
run
like-
you
So it's
ragged.
like if I know I'm going to be out walking with her or playing with her, I'll need to adjust my insulin. I'll need
Yeah.
to take less insulin, and I'll need to have extra snacks. But aye, it's challenging. It is tricky, man.
Because as a parent, man, honest, it's a hard thing to kind of juggle
Aye.
everything
You
together.
don't want to be too selfish, but at the same time, you need to look after yourself in order to look
Aye.
after them,
Yeah,
isn't it?
that's it.
Aye,
That's the
big time.
whole point of it. Because as you're saying, you need to. You can't turn around and go, I'm not going to today. I'm not feeling it.
Do
The
you
kid.
find that with you? Aye? Do you
Yeah,
find that
so
yourself?
my tiredness, I can wake up on days when my bones are sore. Because the years on dialysis, my bones kind of climbed a bit.
Yeah.
But you can't turn around and go, nah, we're not doing it today. Because when you've got
No, fuck this. I'm like, get in that room and
no.
we'll play Fortnite and leave me alone.
because you've got to go and you've got to, because
I've got lazy bastard
If
items,
you're-
that's what I've got.
if you're being kind of
The
lazy in a
tablets for that.
sense, I think they'll be kind of lazy, and I
Aye.
do believe that. So,
Aye.
for instance, like kickboxing, me take her kids to kickboxing.
Aye.
Arabella, she's turning 2 soon. There's a dance class Isla's
I
going
was
to.
doing dancing.
So
aye.
we're going to take her to that. I want to get Arabella into fighting, and I think it's always good. But if you're saying you need to juggle it for them, because if you're sitting about all day, they're going to have to imitate that.
Aye, that's it, man.
It's a weird one.
Yeah.
So we're kind of getting to the end. So I'm going to ask you some questions I found interesting.
Quick fire questions.
Not really. I wouldn't say. Usually we've got a quick fire, but I think these can't be too quick fire. So you've kind of covered the one: can diabetes be managed through diet and exercise? Type 2 can.
Yeah.
That's obviously one of the ones if you do well enough. So, what are the latest advancements in technologies in diabetes that's just coming out soon? Do you think?
So far, type 2, what we spoke about is going to be obviously the skinny pens or the Mounjaro, the GLP-1s. We've spoke about that. For type 1, it's basically like kind of what I use. So I use like an insulin pump. It's called like a hybrid closed loop pump. It sounds really fancy, but it's basically just like a kind of central heating system. You've got like a central heating system.
Yeah.
You set it at 15 degrees and it keeps you. Keeps
up
your
there,
temperature
yeah.
at 15 degrees. It's the same with this. So what you can do is you can tell the algorithm of the pump you want to keep your blood sugar at a certain range. and that will basically automatically adjust the amount of insulin it's giving you. So if your blood sugar's going above that target, it increases insulin. If your blood sugar's going below the target, it suspends the insulin. And so basically the sensor and the pump, they're talking to each other constantly.
That's good.
So that's like the big advancement, probably, I would say, now in type 1 diabetes.
Because what more would you want? Like, how could you progress from that? Because
for that, you could upgrade that. So like the insulin obviously brings your blood sugar down, but there's another hormone we never spoke about called glucagon. So they're thinking about upgrading this. They're going to maybe have glucagon as well. So if your blood sugar's going low, rather than just suspend the insulin, it would start giving you glucagon to bring you back up.
That's quite good.
So that would be like the next development.
So insulin brings your sugar down. And then
glucagon
brings it up, right? Okay.
Brings it up.
So what is, because I done drama in school, and it was like a big on the schools used to come to ours. Was somebody with diabetes? They always had a Lucozade in the fridge.
So that's just get carbohydrate. That's just
so is that just in case
that's the blood sugar goes low.
That's what I was thinking there. So that's when it goes low.
Just so it goes like that as well. Because when Lewis, I remember he was at my work, and we were walking away in his car, and he just kind of went like that. I had like a wee kind of dizzy. He said that, like you're talking about the vision. He just he knows, he could feel it. Go shit. Craig, do me a favour, get to the shop and go get me a Mars bar. And the Mars bar was just enough to get, because he never brought his stuff, because he was just at that time he must have been maybe early 20s, like you said, a bit naive and a bit lackadaisy with it. So that gave him enough to try and get up the road to get his insulin and jag up.
You're always with type 1, like you shouldn't be having a lot of hypos, but things can happen. But you always need to be carrying kind of, obviously, like, you know, I use dextrose tablets, so I use the wee sugary tablets. You always want to be carrying some fast acting carbohydrate on you.
Thanks very much for that one. So the next one is, what advice would you give for individuals looking to prevent diabetes, especially young people?
Prevent, so type 1, obviously.
No, type 1 you can't, but type 2.
Type 1, I'd say obviously it's going to be really just genetics and stuff you can't really change. So you can't change your parents, unfortunately.
That's a bastard, that one.
If you're from, like, you know, Asian descent, or, you know, if you're from high risk groups, then there's not a lot you can do. But stuff like obviously maintaining a healthy weight, active lifestyle, good sleep, good healthy diet.
Plenty of knowledge.
That's it, exactly. I'd say that, keeping your body weight kind of low, going to the gym, building as much muscle as possible, sleeping as much as you can. It's all these things.
Sleeping's so important. People underestimate the value of good solid 8 hours.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody gets 8 hours anymore.
That's what I was going to say.
Have I heard of that?
I don't know.
And it's like you have the choice though, because anybody could, like, we've got kids, right? My kids are usually sleeping for about 8, half 8. I could just go to sleep, right?
Half 9, half 9.
But it's no fucking happening. I mean, I'm making the most of quiet time. I mean, so you're up till 12, 1 o'clock.
Reading your book.
Even though you know the kids are up at 6.
So they've done studies. I get a point. They've done studies on that, where they've took like 2 groups. I've done like a control group and a sleep group. One group, I think, got 7.5, 8 hours. The other group were sleep deprived, so they got, I think it was 5.5.
Not deprived these days.
Yeah, and what they done was this was non-diabetics. They tested like other stuff like blood pressure, blood sugars. The ones who got the less sleep, their blood sugars were actually higher the next day. So the fact that it shows that's what happens in non-diabetics, the same for diabetic patients.
The sleeps are good.
So if you're not sleeping enough as a diabetic, your blood sugars are going to run high. You're going to need more insulin.
No, I kind of think my missus, my missus got something, I don't know, but she's got asthma and that, but she needs, like, it's mad though, like, so I could probably, my peak, like, I feel my body performs best when about 6-7 hours. I think if I oversleep, I'm fucked. Undersleep, but she needs like 10 hours. 10. You know what I mean, to be functional. Wow. See if she goes she goes to bed dead early, gets up, she could still be bust. And I kept saying, "Oh, you're overtired," but she will fall asleep again. So she's probably got diabetes or something.
Probably something there. So next one. So for young people, they probably don't take care as much. What would you say to them to obviously monitoring their diabetes and taking care? How important is it to them, like, to really stay quite strict with it?
I mean, definitely. I'd say, like, obviously
it's still life and death, isn't it?
I know, but like young people, I was one of them. You don't.
Young people, if you've got type 1, obviously you're going to be at higher risk of developing complications just because you're going to have it for a longer period of time. I know it sounds brutal, but if you get diagnosed with type 1 when you're 50, 60, your body's not took any stress.
Yeah.
So you're maybe only going to have it for 20 years. But if you get
him, because he's not going to know when he's 60 what all this medication's done from the age of 18.
Yeah.
Go bald.
Yeah.
Done that.
But the young ones, it's maybe just thinking, long term, and just kind of thinking about that, like just, maybe reaching out, working with your healthcare team, trying to make good decisions and just making kind of small decisions and stuff,
So do you think the resources are there for people?
Well, that's what I was my next question.
100%. Nowadays, man, you've got stuff like this. You've got like YouTube, you've got Instagram. There's tons of like professional resources online, free resources. Like back in the day, I don't know what we use, but like back in the day before YouTube and Google, I mean, do you remember like forums?
I remember because I love wrestling. I like wrestling still.
So forums,
the
man.
forums.
Yeah, so there would be
some
like
abuse on forums. Man.
So there would have been like diabetes forums, or if it was like nutrition, there was one called like bodybuilding.com, and it would be on that, and you would be like, there'd be like two guys posting about diabetes, and like you just didn't have a clue, man. Like the knowledge wasn't there. I think nowadays it's the opposite. I think there's too much. There's too much information nowadays. Whereas back then there was no information. So
as I say, Googling half your symptoms now. You're fucking Dr. Google's pronouncing you dead then and there.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, now that you say that, but technology is getting better. They've got an AI thing now where they're going to test you through your they can like an X-ray thing.
I do feel like I know it's like probably because I've dealt with people like having heart attacks and passing away. I think people should have mandatory yearly checks. I don't know if you can even get that. I don't even know if you can go to the doctor and go, check me for everything.
Privately,
you know what I mean, check my heart, check my liver, check everything's working.
100%.
Because I think they need to do. I think they do that in America now for life insurance. Their insurances. Do you need to go for your yearly check so that you can get your health insurance?
Aye.
So
prevention's going to be better than cure, isn't it?
Well, that's it. So final question. I said there's plenty of information out there.
Yeah.
Do you think it needs to be advertised more though? Like as in a case of like an adverts on social media? Because I don't really think I see much about diabetes.
No.
That much on like kind of adverts in a sense. Like you see like cancer research. You don't really see much for diabetes.
Definitely. I think like we need to, especially with type 1 to an extent, but especially with type 2, because that's like 90% of people with diabetes have got it. I think in my personal opinion it's too. You made a great point. People get diagnosed and it's like, oh, you've got diabetes. Like, just take these tablets. Here's a wee leaflet. Make a few changes to your diet at the GP.
Mum, she takes tablets anyway, so just went, here's an extra tablet and a wee leaflet. There you go.
People don't get told that the severity and the significance. And I was at a conference recently, and one of the doctors made a really good point. He was saying like, basically like 20, 25 years ago, leukemia in children, like if children got that, it was like essentially it was a death sentence. But what they've done was they've really advanced the treatment and the research. And they've treated it very aggressively. So now children, touch wood, of any kids. But if any kids get leukemia now, it's the chances of them actually passing away from it is very, very slim because of treatment. And
I hate the word leukemia.
They're so aggressive at treating it. And I think we need to do the same with type 2 or even type 1 to the extent when people get diagnosed. Professionals need to be really upfront and say to them, look, this is a serious disease. We can't put this into remission.
I know, excuse the pun, but it's pure sugar coated. I mean, thinking it's just as a pill where you go.
We should be saying, because the thing is with remission, I never even spoke about it, but the research shows with the guys Roy Taylor and stuff, if people can lose, between 10 to 15 kilos of body weight, that's normally enough to cure them or put their diabetes and type 2 into remission. So if you say that to people from the start, it can be done. But I think we need to be more aggressive with it.
Yeah.
A bit more assertive in the fact that it's a problem.
It can be reversed.
It can be reversed, and if they don't say to them straight away and see how serious it can be, because if they just go as like just trying to be better instead of going, you need to be better, because in the long run, it sounds thing, but it's all comes down to money. Prevents the NHS wasting more money and people that could do it themselves.
See if there's a free pill out there, nobody's going to bother. That's the mentality. People going,
We've generally just spoke about it, but they're taking the injections.
If you go at this, right, cool, here's the pill. I know it's quite harsh, but I say this with like methadone users and people like that. You can have a free access to it for a certain period of time, but if you don't see you're doing anything to help, you're getting papped after it, and you can go your own, or you need to pay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you can't just, people are just relying on the system helping them and just going, well, I just need to get my prescription and I'm brand new. Whereas if there's a wee bit incentive to go, well, I need to start paying for this. I better actually start watching what I'm doing.
It's a different thing, in the way kind of semi-private healthcare and stuff. I know. I mean, the Australian model's quite good. I lived in Australia for a while, and that was quite good. Where like basically, if you wanted to see a GP, you could wait, and you could get like the public one, but it maybe take like 3, 4, 5 days. But if you wanted to see a GP that day, this was 10 years ago, you would pay something like $20-$30. And you would get to do. So I think, as you say, people would potentially do that here. Maybe like a semi-private.
Yeah,
here would be good.
Because I know people say like go on, you can't go private. No, I'm not saying don't get rid of NHS, because we obviously do need that. Yeah. But there is a bit out there it could do for private for people, because it does take waiting for certain things. But it does take waiting list off the NHS as well. I think
it means that people that have got the money, they're happy to spend it. They get seen quicker. It takes pressure off the NHS.
Yeah,
is it sort of? Is there an option for that though?
For certain things there is.
Is it insurance based? Is it not? No?
Aye, you can get it through insurance, so you can pay private, but the BUPA and stuff. But the issue with the private here is it's very, very expensive. Whereas the Australian model, it's all subsidised.
Yeah,
so it's sort of semi-private,
but they're still making money out of it in a sense.
Ireland's the same, and in Ireland, if you want to see a GP, you pay for it. So I think that's the way the healthcare will go here.
I'd be fucked in, wouldn't I?
Constantly seeing them. See my missus, she's phoning them up every Monday morning at 8 o'clock. How come I'm no front of the queue? I've started to. But speaking about foreign countries, like, see what you're on the now. Like, see in America,
insulin
obviously.
Pump and stuff.
See in America, like what is it called? Like, I'm assuming people in America, if they had something, you've got like type 1 and a pump, you have to pay for it.
Yeah,
I mean,
so the cost of this pump's about, I think the pump itself is about £2,000 to buy it. And I think for the year, I think you're talking maybe it's about a couple of £1,000 a year.
I mean, it's like people over in America can't afford that.
It'll be a lot more expensive.
Over there it's different. That's us getting working at a low rate. Like, I was on a tablet from when I had the transplant. You're only on it for a couple of months, and this tablet was costing the NHS £60 per tablet.
Well, look at
this was cheap here. This was cheap here, but over there it was.
See, my vet, I know it's brilliant, but vets, man, my sister had to take Doug to the vet, but Doug was too irate to be looked after, to be examined. So they said, right, bring him back tomorrow. Here's a wee pill to get them to sedate them. That was £60 for that one wee pill. And I was like, can you get any more? I need 8 hours sleep.
So thank you so much for coming on.
Cheers, lads.
Do you want to talk about your Instagram to get that out there so people can get more education?
Yeah, so it's on. I've got one's KDG Nutrition. That's mostly just kind of personal.
KDG?
KDG is my initials, Kieran David Gribben Nutrition. Then I've got another one, it's T2DM Nutrition as well. But do have the odd wee posts and stuff as well. But if anybody's got any questions, just send us.
Just send it on. We'll fire the Instagram up, because obviously when we get the episode, you'll get bombarded with me making clips anyway. Constant. Basically, I do it all the time because I think it's good to get information. Same with GG's. It's good to get information. We do it to inform people. As we said, we're called
ourselves, because I'm really uneducated.
So I'll be honest with you, my weight is big. I've been big. We've spoken about my weight. I've never been told anything about diabetes.
The risks.
The risk, I've not been told. I've got a risk. I've not been told any risk on it. But you come here and informed us. So it's quite good that me goes, I could be at risk, but they've just not told me. Because they're too busy telling me about my kidney failure. They're going, just leave him aside. It's good to realise, and that's the whole point of me doing this. It was no young, no old. Any age, any come in, as long as we've got a good story and they can help us out and educate other people. And that's it. And I think you've done that today. So thanks so much for coming on.
I enjoyed it.
Good times. It's been brilliant.
That's been a good episode. And make sure you're following all our social media. We are on YouTube now. We're obviously on the Let's Have It.
Yep.
That's where all our episodes be on. But me and Craig, we're on YouTube. We've got to do daily outings with kids and stuff like that. Talk about some serious stuff. Have some laughs. But also on Instagram, TikTok. So make sure you're following us. Have a good day.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.